because it takes a second.
Okay. And then are people in waiting rooms or are they?
They should just be able to join right on after it comes live. Okay, it says we are now live streaming on Facebook. I see just 2 participants in the group right now. And it shows that we're recording.
It is. It shows that it's recording on top.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I'm seeing 13 attendees, 15. I guess it just takes, there we go. Hello, everybody. I see lots of people are joining as we speak. It's ratcheting up the count as I'm talking. So we'll give it just another minute before we get going. So if you need to go grab a drink or take care of something really quick, we'll give it like another minute or 2 minutes.
Why don't I just play some music while we wait?
Sure. Okay, I think we're ready, Amy. Hi, everybody. I'm Suzanne Fontaine, Executive Director of Susan G Komen Missouri. And I just wanted to welcome you all here tonight and let you know how thrilled we are to be partnered with Amy Camie. Amy reached out to us a few weeks ago and invited us to share a free recording of some of her music with our supporters. And it just gave me this idea that I thought would be fun to put together just a presentation about what she does and how she does it, and learn more about the healing power of music as a way to share something with you during this really stressful time in the world. So we're very glad you're here. I see lots of familiar names in the list of attendees. So before we get started, just a couple reminders. Everybody is muted on this webinar. But if you have questions or comments that you'd like to share, you can put those in the chat, and we're going to get to those at the very end. We'll save time for Q&A. Also know this is being recorded, and it will be on Facebook Live. We are live on Facebook Live right now, but it will also be available for viewing and sharing after it's over. So if you have to jump off early and want to catch the end of it some other time, you can always come back to the Komen Missouri Facebook page. Okay, I think that's all of the housekeeping. So now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Amy Camie. She is a professional harpist. She is a certified clinical musician. She's an author, a composer, a recording artist, and a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And we're thrilled to have her with us tonight. She's going to kick it off with a little bit of music, and then she'll jump into a little bit more about her story and her experience with the healing power of music. So please enjoy.
Thank you. So I just want to remind everyone that tonight is a gift for you because life can feel a little crazy right now, right? There's a lot of this. Does that feel familiar? But it could feel like this. So we can move from this chaos to harmony. Which one feels more relaxing? Of course. The peaceful, flowing harmony. So let's just take a few moments and just exhale. And become very present in this space. So how does that feel? Did you notice any changes in your body? Did your breathing slow down? Did any tension lessen in your body? How about your thoughts? Where did your thoughts go? There are reasons why all of those things could have happened, all those changes. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So you have a deeper understanding and awareness as to how music impacts us. So I'm just going to give you a little background about myself. I started playing harp when I was 10 years old. I actually started piano when I was 5, and both of my parents were music teachers. I'm classically trained. I went to Indiana University, and I've been playing professionally for over 40 years. And in that time, I've played in orchestras and ensembles and events, weddings and funerals. I've played in cancer centers, in cancer infusion units, chemotherapy infusion units for hospice patients. And my music and healing journey actually began very unexpectedly after I graduated in 1987. A friend was going through hospice care. I didn't even know what hospice was at the time. I recorded a cassette tape for her, and she listened to the music while she was going through her guided meditations. And that was the first time I had ever heard about music and healing. But something lit up inside of me. And I reached out to a music therapist. We did our first little questionnaire study, and I've been on this journey ever since. So one of the things I've learned on this journey is to just keep walking through the open doors. Because I wasn't trained to do research, but I was trained as a musician. there's just something inside that says, what inspires this expression? So I went through a whole personal journey of going through my fears. As a classically trained musician, I was dependent on music, on sheet music. And I had to walk through my fears to allow the music that's inside of me to express. And that's been a deeply spiritual journey. And one of the pieces of music that emerged in a very, very special, and for me, a very sacred way, is something called the Magic Mirror. And I'm playing a little bit of it. And I will tell you, everything that I'm playing tonight, I will never play it again the same way, because I always just sit down and allow the music to move through. So I have melodies and I have chord progressions that are similar, but the way they express in this moment is unique to this moment. We are all creating this together. So I'm sharing this because in 2002, we did some pilot study research with quantitative EEG, measuring brainwave frequencies, of 5 women going through chemotherapy treatment for cancer. And what that pilot study indicated was listening to this music once a day for 10 days helped to normalize neurological functioning. And they reported feeling more focused and less anxious. So I immediately just wanted to give the music to every cancer patient on the planet. Because if we could help alleviate some of the side effects of some of the drugs that are necessary for cancer treatment, what a blessing. So that was done in 2002. In 2010, December 2010, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I was stage 2, had a lumpectomy, 11 lymph nodes removed, 6 rounds of chemotherapy, and 33 radiation treatments. And I listened to this music at least twice a day. Because one of the other pilot studies we had done was with saliva biomarkers. And we showed that it had a sustained impact on immune system biomarkers for up to 72 hours after listening to it once. So I knew that listening to this music would help support my body. And it did. And then in December 2012, I was diagnosed again. And this time it was the same breast. I had a right mastectomy, full hysterectomy, and I'm on tamoxifen. So it initially felt like a cosmic joke because I had been so active in the cancer, hospice, and grief communities for so many years, sharing music. But then I turned the mirror and it was like, oh, yeah, I need to remember how to love myself again. Because I was always taking care of other people. And I didn't realize it at the time. But as I slowed down and I just got really honest with my feelings, what was coming up, I realized that I had disconnected from myself when I got married. My focus was on my husband. And then I disconnected from myself even more when I became a mother. And even more after a miscarriage, and even more after the birth of our second son. So I had totally forgot how to take care of me and to put me back in my life. And so my journey to love is what I experienced with um, with both of my diagnoses. And I kept a very detailed journal, which is available online. You can, anybody can read it. And I really tried to be honest with every experience, because what I was also learning was to be very conscious. It's where my conscious self-care journey began. And what I was becoming conscious of was change. Because I have control issues. I'm adopted. um, it goes way, it's deep, it's very deep. Um, it changed, it was happening in every moment. My body is changing, and you all know this too. There's no normal. Our bodies are changing with the tests, with the surgeries, with the drugs. Every day something tastes different, something hurts, something doesn't hurt. And there was no solid ground. Every day was a new normal. Every moment was a new normal. So for me, conscious self-care is about that moment to moment awareness and connection within ourselves. And I feel that's what we're all going through right now as well, is trying to find that connection that offers some sense of stability and safety and comfort within ourselves. So right now I'm going to play another piece of music. And I just invite you to close your eyes and notice any changes, anything happening within you, any connections happening. Just be with yourself fully right now. So did you feel anything change? And how would you describe that? And what if I told you that the name of that piece is called The Love Song? Could you feel the love moving through the music? See, for me, I see music as a highway. It creates this highway of connection. And I do this because I kind of feel like it's a tube. It's this highway of connection that the musician creates with the listener. And in fact, I feel that all expression creates these highways of connection between us. And the way I like to describe this is through the understanding of resonance. And I'm going to ask you to kind of hang with me for the next few minutes because I'm going to share some information. It may feel a little heady, but I'm going to simplify it. And once this idea kind of sinks in, it can be applied to everything in your life. So I get very excited about this. So in a very simplified way, everything is energy. And if we have an atom and we have electrons and neutrons and protons and it's moving around, and when there's movement, there's sound. And when there's sound, there's a frequency. We don't hear it, but it's there. So if we start with that basis, that everything has a frequency, it has what is called a resonant frequency or a home frequency. I like to think it's like where we're comfortable. It's our, oh, this is where we are. Oh, this is my frequency. Okay? And it changes. It's a frequency at which we most naturally resonate, but it changes. And in our common language, we often use the language of feelings and emotions to describe where we are vibrationally. I feel happy. I feel down. I feel angry. Those will correspond to our energetic state, right? So if we look at the harp, I love to use the harp as a metaphor. So we have all of these different strings and vibrations on the instrument, but we also have all of these different strings and frequencies inside of us. Because if everything has a frequency, that means our bones, our blood, our organs, they all have their own frequency as well. And we have the vibrations of our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions and our fears and our joys and every experience that we've ever had is a vibrational imprint that we hold in our bodies right now in this moment. We are so full of vibrations and energy. So I want to demonstrate something. These are two tuning forks. They were created to sing. Their resonant frequency is 440 hertz. Now, they will never change their frequency because they're objects. But we change our frequency all the time. So anything that is alive and moving, we change. But these don't. I'm going to strike one and I'm going to put it on the harp. And then I'm going to put the other one right next to it. And we'll see what happens, okay? Can you hear it? I'll strike it again. Can you hear it? It's singing. The second one is singing, but I didn't strike it. So what's happening is, this one, when I struck it, it started to vibrate. It started to move through the air, and the air activated this one because it's the same frequency. And this is called sympathetic vibration. When two objects of the same frequency come into close proximity, because they're sharing the airwaves, right? they create a resonant system, or they begin to sing together, right? It has to be the same frequency. If I used another tuning fork, it would not activate because it is a different frequency. This concept of sympathetic vibration is one of the easiest ways to understand why music affects us. Because it's this highway, right? And whatever's inside of me as a musician is moving through the highway, and it's sympathetically resonating that within the listener. And sympathetic vibration also helps us understand why Reiki and massage, aromatherapy, healing touch, color therapy, art therapy, why all of these complementary and alternative therapies help us feel more balanced and in harmony. It's because whatever is happening has a frequency, and it is sympathetically resonating that frequency within us. I love this awareness because it can be applied to what we color. What do we feel like wearing? Who do we feel like being around? You know, we use these terms, ooh, bad vibes, in our common language. But this is what it means. We wouldn't be able to feel it if it wasn't in us. And for me, when we're able to recognize what we're feeling inside and be responsible for that, then we get to learn so much about ourselves. And that was such a crucial part of my journey with cancer, was being able to feel what was coming up, what was being activated from the outside, so that I could learn more about myself. And understanding this concept is also really important for those who care for cancer patients, because we are just blown open. Our energy changes every day. We're exhausted. We don't have that extra strength to resist what's in our space. So we feel so much. But it's through sympathetic vibration. So I'm just going to take a couple moments and just play and let this idea sink in a little bit. Because for me it is a fundamental expansion of a perception that we can apply in so many different ways. Actually to everything in our life. We can apply this awareness. So I'm just going to play for a moment and allow you just to kind of let that settle in. How do you feel? What are you sympathetically resonating with? What's awakening? We can talk more about it later, but I'm just going to play here. The other piece of being aware of sympathetic vibration is, the richness, the richness. Ah, those low notes of the harp. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just tell you a couple of comments in the chat. People are loving it, saying that's so relaxing, and another person said beautiful. So I just wanted to share that feedback because I know we're not seeing everyone's faces here, but I think people are really enjoying it.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, one of the awarenesses that help me move through the feelings that sometimes surface is this awareness that from this vibrational perspective, there are no good or bad frequencies. The low notes are just as important and part of this instrument as the high notes. Our low, those experiences that we experience in life that we may not feel comfortable with, we want to remember, they're painful, they're part of the wholeness and the beauty, though, of who we are. And for me, that helps to awaken this self-compassion, this self-love. For me, compassion is about embracing the fullness of who we are, embracing all aspects. Because as we embrace these aspects within ourselves, then we're able to see through those eyes of compassion and recognize that aspect in other people because of sympathetic vibration, right? And when we're not judging ourselves, then the people around us don't feel judged. There's safe, sacred space for really honest, open connection. So the next concept that I just want to share, which is important to understand, especially in respect to music, is like if I would play can you feel that boom, boom, boom? And can you kind of feel yourself going like nodding or bouncing or yeah. So that concept is called entrainment. And entrainment is so important to be aware of because we have 3 rhythmic systems in our body that are affected by entrainment all the time. We have our brain waves, our breathing, and our heart rate. Have you ever pulled up to a stoplight and a car comes by with a very low bass? Boom, boom. You can kind of feel it in your body, right? For me, it hurts my heart. Why? Because this external rhythm is trying to force my natural heartbeat out of its natural rhythm. Right, that concept is called forced resonance, but it's based on entrainment because it's the rhythmic aspect of what we talked about. With the sympathetic vibration, this is the rhythmic aspect. It's like when everybody starts to clap together. That's a rhythm, right? That's why we want to use music that has a special a beat when we want to work out, when we want to walk. We may not be conscious that we're choosing music to help entrain our breathing, our brain waves, and our heart rate, but we know that this music helps us feel energized. Why? Because it is entraining our heart rate. And these 3 rhythmic systems entrain with each other. So when we understand this concept of entrainment and sympathetic vibration, for me, a lot of the research that's happening with music makes so much sense just with this fundamental understanding of how our bodies respond to music. So when we're playing, so a lot of music is being created or produced at this 60 beats per minute, okay? Because that's the natural heart rhythm. All right, so when we play music that has this pulse, this beat, then our heart rate is going to entrain with that external rhythm. So it makes sense that music would lower blood pressure, help reduce anxiety, because the when we slow down our breathing and our heart rate, the brain waves start to slow down as well. And our brain waves are rhythms. You know, they're very slow ones, and they get faster, and then the betas are right here, and then the high betas are the anxious ones. So they're rhythms, and they're affected by entrainment. Some of you may have seen the video with the Parkinson's patient. When his therapist started to play music, he started to walk in a really smooth gait because of entrainment. So these two concepts, sympathetic vibration and entrainment, help us to have a deeper appreciation for how music is affecting our bodies on many different levels. So when we want to use music to support our mental health, a couple questions that we can ask ourselves are, do I want to feel a specific feeling? Or do I really just want to relax and decompress? So think about your favorite song. Right? Just think about your favorite song. And did anything change within you as soon as you thought about it? Maybe singing the words or remembering the last time you heard it. Yeah, because familiar music helps us feel comfortable and safe. And especially right now, are you noticing that there's a lot of happy music being played on the internet? A lot of people are sharing these uplifting songs because it helps provide connection. It helps provide the sense of safety because it's familiar. It's also why a lot of us are eating comfort foods, you know, because it's familiar. And we know how it's going to make us feel based on our prior experience with it. On the other hand, unfamiliar music helps our beta waves slow down. So the beta waves is the brainwave frequency that correlates with conscious awareness, alertness, right? The high betas are a little bit faster, and that would be anxiousness and worry. So we want to kind of slow them down a little bit. But when we're thinking about our familiar music, our favorite music, our beta waves are engaged because we're thinking, and we've got the memories, and we have all those associations with that music. But if we have unfamiliar music, the beta waves, they can slow down a little bit because there's no memories associated to it. And then the alpha waves can start increasing. And that's a little bit slower, and we experience the alpha frequency as like this daydream kind of zone out, very peaceful. So we can relax and calm the brain with unfamiliar music. So that's why at the very beginning, I intentionally played very relaxing music. You didn't know it. I didn't know it. I was just playing. And I did not play music that would entrain the rhythmic systems. I left open space so that you could fall into your own comfort, your own comfortable rhythm, your own comfortable breathing pattern. And in therapeutic music, this is called non-rhythmic music because there's space. For me, it feels like the breath. So that was very intentional So at the very beginning, when I asked what happened to your thoughts, did you notice anything different? Did they calm down? And if so, it was because your beta waves were slowing down. And the cool thing is it probably happened really quickly. This happens pretty quickly. All right. I've got my notes here, so I stay on track here. So right now, I want to play another piece of music. And I'm not going to tell you the name of it, because I also feel that when we know the name of a piece of music, that filters our experience. Like if I told you that, well, the love song, if I had told you that the name of the piece that I played called the love song, if I told you that before I played it, it would have affected your experience because you would have been thinking about or feeling that love. And I'm curious, we can talk about it afterwards, how many felt it anyway? Just because that was my intention, that's how I was feeling when I was playing it. And it was moving through the music and sympathetically resonating that within you. So I'm going to play this piece, and I'm not going to tell you what the name is. I'm just going to let you have your own experience with it. And yeah, and we can talk about it on the other side. So you could feel the difference of that one, right? You could feel the energy. Could you feel, were you aware that you were in training?
Had one woman comment that it actually made her cry.
Aw. Okay, so I'm so glad you mentioned that because so many people resist feeling and allowing that energy to move. For me, I love tears. Oh my goodness, that is like it's sympathetically resonating that feeling within us, and the energy is moving, and it's like an internal cleanse.
Actually,
Oh,
I read that a little wrong. She said the last one. So the first one, the love song,
yeah,
was the one that brought the tears. And
yeah,
she said this one felt so happy.
right, exactly, exactly. And because that's what we're feeling inside of us, because it's sympathetically resonating that energy within us. So this was called the dance. And it was inspired by an ancient Mesopotamian myth called Nana and Ningal. And I have a CD called Dreams, The Love Within, and this and the love song are part of that story, that myth. There's like a soundtrack. So I mentioned earlier, how are we doing on time?
We have about 15 minutes.
Okay, really quickly. So I mentioned earlier about some pilot studies that we did years ago with the magic mirror, and it's been a long journey between then and now. And I really am excited to let you all know that with the help of an amazing research team, we now have a clinical study approved at Washington University School of Medicine that's going to be implemented at Siteman Cancer Center once it's funded. And it is a feasibility study. It is using the magic mirror music with newly diagnosed patients who are scheduled to receive chemotherapy. And this is the first step in a much broader vision to continue exploring the impact of this music on brainwave and immune system function based upon what we did years and years ago. So I'm thrilled about this particular protocol because this study will help us deepen the conversation with music-based intervention research. Because a lot of the research that's happening right now doesn't necessarily go into depth into the different variables within the music that they're using, which makes the studies difficult to duplicate. So there is actually a criteria, there's a checklist that is suggested for music-based interventions, and we addressed each one of those checklists items in our protocol, such as the key, the tempo, the expertise of the musician, how the music was going to be shared or listened to. So we addressed all that, and we also distinguished the difference between therapeutic music and music therapy. And that is a conversation that I am passionate about sharing because so many people don't even know that therapeutic music exists. You know, it's music. Well, yes, it would be like having dentists, chiropractors, doctors, nurses. Oh, it's medicine. You know, yeah, it's music, but there's specialized fields of study and training that people go through in order to use music in very specific ways. So, therapeutic music and therapeutic musicians, we use music to help create an environment conducive to healing. We watch the patient, we adjust the music. We are not attached to any outcome. We are there to help support their body, mind, and spirit in their healing process. Music therapists use music in a very specific way to elicit very specific outcomes. So it is important that a patient receives both. A patient needs therapeutic music and music therapy because it supports them in different ways. So I just would like to end this piece or this part with another just melody to bring a smile to your face. A little spring.
Was awesome. Do you have time for a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. My colleague Donna has been watching the Facebook feed, and I think she was gonna let me know if there are any questions over there. I don't know if she was able to connect to Zoom, so she may have to like text me or something like that. I think she's watching on Facebook. But one question is, when you were in treatment for breast cancer, you had already been doing this for a really long time. So the music that you were listening to for that therapeutic music environment, was it your own?
It was.
And um, I guess it would still have a positive effect, even though it's you playing it?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It was like, because the music just moves through me, I don't own it per
Mhm.
se. It's like I didn't create it. It was inspired. It literally woke up inside of me, and I just, it was inspired by ancient healing chants. My husband was actually sharing some chants with me, and his voice became the highway. All right. And it sympathetically resonated. It was almost like this cellular memory. And these melodies started playing me from the inside. And the only reason we recorded the Magic Mirror was to get the music out of me. And so when I listen to it, I mean, I just listened to it this afternoon. I continually listen to it, and it puts me out. It's only 23 minutes. But because the highway is so clear, and that's the other thing. To be aware of how are you experiencing a piece of music. A lot of times music is created for a very specific outcome, and there's an intention writing through that music. And other times the music just flows through and there's no intention. It's like a clear highway. So the listener gets to receive exactly what they need in that moment. And so that's how I experience the magic mirror still every day almost.
You mentioned that you kept a detailed journal and that anyone could read that online. Would people find that on your website?
Absolutely. Just amycamie.com and the menu option, My Journey with Cancer. And then there's resources, there's my book. The journal is actually under My Journey to Love. It's all right there.
Awesome. And so everybody on the call and on Facebook, just want to let you know, I'll be emailing those of you that registered that I have emails for with a link to Amy's website, as well as to the Magic Mirror download. It's a free download. It's 23 minutes. It is really, really beautiful, relaxing stuff. And such a generous gift for Amy to share that with us at no cost. And so I hope you all enjoy it. I don't think we have any questions on the Facebook end of things, and I'm not seeing anything else in the chat or Q&A.
Can I
So
just mention one more thing? Just a
yes,
couple things. So, for those of you who are interested in listening to the Magic Mirror and are downloading it, you can access it at musicformentalhealth.com. That's why we are offering it this month, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And my husband and I, we just felt, we have to do something to help support our community and our world right now, as we are all moving through this pandemic. And so for this month, we're offering free downloads. And you can listen to it all the way through to decide if you even like it.
you'll like it, I promise. Lots of comments in the chat saying, thank you, Amy. Thank you so much. This was fantastic. And someone's asking, are you going to write more of your music? You have a few on Sheet Music Plus.
So what happens is when I go into the studio, the music just comes through. So the music that is on Sheet Music Plus is actually from the dream. So I have to go out, I have to listen to the music and transcribe like every note that I play. And for the dream CD, I actually orchestrated that. So I have chamber ensemble, harp, flute, violin, cello parts for that piece. I would love to find somebody who could just help me transcribe the music because I have lots of music that I eventually, yes. Um,
Any of you on this call want to volunteer to do that and have those special skills? I can put y'all can get you in touch. Another question, someone said, very interesting. And where have you played before and where do you plan to play in the future? Just curious.
so, as far as where have I played before, I mean, I've played in orchestras and private events, and um, I actually stopped gigging about 10 years ago when I really started focusing more on developing the research and developing presentations. Um, so now my focus is really on speaking and sharing this kind of insight because I feel it's so applicable. I love to empower people with this concept of resonance because it can be applied to everything in our lives. So, actually, the next speaking engagement is at a Time to Heal Cancer Foundation, their conference in August. And I actually have a program called Conscious Self Care where I integrate these awarenesses of resonance into self care. So I'm bringing it all together, the cancer journey, the healing power of music, the power of resonance, and taking care of ourselves. It's all culminating right now.
Fantastic. Patricia says she'll hook you up, I think, with the music transcribing stuff. So,
All right.
Patricia, I think you probably can find Amy on your own, but if you need my help, reach out to me. Um, and another thanks for sharing tonight. It's so wonderful to experience tonight was another comment. Also, love that you wore pink. Love your smile and love your energy. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and sharing your gifts with our constituents and supporters. Our Komen, Missouri family is all very grateful to you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This has been such a gift.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming. I will be emailing you tomorrow with those links and we'll also put it on our Facebook page for those of you who are watching on Facebook. So be sure and check out our page and join our Komen, Missouri More Than Pink group as well.
And Amy Camie, harpist on Facebook, come on over. You can like the page. There's tons of videos on that on my page there too.
Yeah. Awesome, everybody. Thank you and have a great night.
Bye bye.